Hello and welcome to Quack Co, the board game channel where every video is 10 minutes or less guaranteed. I'm Board Game Dave, and this week I'm taking over the channel, and today is Tuesday, which means it's time for a Just the Tip Tuesday, when we give you tips about games, board gaming, specific games, strategy tips, all kinds of tips. My tip for you, though, is something I hope a little bit more practical and something a little bit more holistic to your gaming experience, which is, how do you get a gaming group together? How do you find friends that are into board games and consistently play board games? So, I am super lucky. By no merit of my own, I have many gaming groups. I have my core gaming group when we play heavy Euros. We play new games almost every time we get together. That's the game I've got. That's the group I've got some campaigns going with. Super awesome crew of guys, dedicated every week. We get together and play games. I also have a wonderful girlfriend who plays games with me all the time. She's excited to learn new games. We play games constantly, and I love that. Of course, very lucky to have that. My cousins, my family, extended family, they're big gamers, so we get together and do cousins game night, which is great. And then, of course, Hannah's friends and my friends, and we have other people that are not super, seriously into board games. They're not hardcore gamers like I am, but they play games and enjoy learning a new game here and there. So, from my experience, I do have a lot of gaming friends, but some of it, of course, I had to go out and pursue it and find people to game with. So, I'm going to share some tips with you, 4 tips on how to find new gamers. Now, number 1, you got to find friends. You got to make some gamer friends, of course. And how do we do that? One way to do it, I think, is to use the resources available to you. You've got Facebook, right? There's Facebook groups where there's gaming groups in your community, in your town, in your city that you can find and hook up with and get gaming. There's also an app called Meetup. So when I was really early into the board game hobby, my sister told me about this app Meetup, and it's this app where it's all kinds of different hobbies. So you could do ultimate frisbee, you could do mahjong, you could do, kickball, but you could also do board gaming, and you're going to find people that are interested in the hobby, first of all, but 2, are actively looking for other people to play board games with. And that's like that's freebie, guys. Use Meetup. Find a board game group in your area and go show up. And I know it's nerve-wracking, right? The first time you go, I was really uncomfortable. I showed up, had kind of a stack of games and didn't know anybody there, literally, and was like, hey, I'm David, I'm here to play some games. And it was great, made some new friends, played some games, stuff I wasn't, not on my radar, and maybe games that I didn't really like, but I met new people that were interested in board games, and I kept going, and, they do board game meetups, I think, twice a month, so that's a great way to meet some new people that'll play games with you. Beyond that, a more organic approach to this is, of course, just talk about board games. I know it seems kind of weird, but, when people ask what your hobbies are, I play board games, and they're going to say something about Monopoly, they're going to say something about Clue and life and stuff like that, but, just own it. Say, yeah, there's some really fantastic board games. There's thousands of new board games every month, every year, and there's games about Game of Thrones and Dune and DC and Marvel, whatever people are interested in. Bring it up, and they might be interested in playing board games with you. Or, as is the case very often, I think, they'll be like, my friend is really into board games, or my cousin's really into board games. Maybe you should, get connected with this person. And honestly, I've had that happen more than once, where somebody's like, hey, you should talk to my friend, Steve. Steve's really into board games. You should get his number. And then we end up playing board games together. Really, it happens a lot. So, talk about board games and ask people if they play board games. I literally, this past week, was playing in a quartet with somebody, and they mentioned that they play, World of Warcraft online. They're big World of Warcraft people. And I thought, that's nerdy enough to be board game adjacent. And I said, do you happen to play board games by any chance? And literally, she said, you've got to see my board game collection. So immediately, here's a board game person, right? Husband and wife, they've got a pretty great board game collection. Lots of games I'm into. Got each other's numbers, said, hey, let's make it happen. Board game, date night, we're going to make it happen. It's great. So talk about board games, right? Just own the hobby. And the more you talk about it, the more you'll attract people who are also into board games and get some game nights going. So that's my first tip. Make new friends that are into board games. Number 2, invite people over, right? You can't always count on going to someone's house to do board games. Primarily that's what I do because I don't have a great space for it. But, even still, invite people over, play games at your place, be a good host, get some snacks, get some good games, set it up, get everybody's player pieces and resources set up, and then invite people over. That's such a great way to own that board gaming night and give people a welcoming place where they can kind of have this whole board gaming experience, right? It's more than just the game, it's the ambiance, right? Put some music on that matches the theme of the game. It's the snacks, it's little organizers and little board game upgrades and metal coins, right? Things that just make it like, man, I want to do that again, right? Invite people over. Tip number 2. Tip number 3, you gotta be democratic, you gotta be diplomatic with the games that you play, right? So if you're the kind of person where it's my way or the highway, I'm gonna play Brass Birmingham tonight, and if you don't want to play Brass Birmingham, don't show up. There's people like that, and that's fine if you don't want board game friends, but if you want friends that are gonna come and hang out with you and play games, be democratic, be diplomatic, right? If 2 people want to play this game and you really want to play, I'm looking around here, you want to play, I can't read half these fonts here, Crypt Explorer, right? I want to play that, but my friends want to play Sushi Go. Play Sushi Go, right? It's okay. Just play something somebody else wants to play. It's a good thing, right? So be democratic, be diplomatic, take turns, right? Say, okay, this week I'm going to pick the game, and then next week you play, you pick whatever you want to play, and then you bring whatever game you want to play. So do that, just be a good friend. Maybe that's common sense. I'm sure it is, but that's a good way to invite people and keep people coming and keep them interested in gaming with you, because you're not a jerk, right? Because you'll play whatever they want to play. So that's a good thing. And lastly, it's not just about gaming. So again, going back to the experience, the ambiance, the whole night doesn't have to be just board games. And I think this was a hard lesson for me that I had to learn. In my mind, a game night is you sit down, you have a game ready to go, you play that game, and if you have more time, you play another game back to back to back. But for a lot of people, board gaming is not their entire universe, right? They want to socialize, they want to talk, and they want to catch up, and they want to get to know you, and they want to, get to know the people around the table. And maybe to them, that's a lot more important than the board game at hand. They don't really care about winning, they just want to have a good experience. One really memorable example of this was I played Viticulture with some friends. I had introduced it to a couple that we knew, and it just went on and on and on. The game, it was probably about 2.5 hours maybe, all said and done. And the whole time I'm sweating, I'm anxious, I'm thinking, oh, there's no way they're having a good time because this game is going so long. We get to the end and they loved it. They loved the game, but more than that, they really enjoyed talking about the theme of the game and talking about stomping the grapes and making the wine and having a charcuterie board and the wine and really turning it into more than just a game, an experience, a shared, communal, social event, right? And that was so much better than just playing Viticulture. So, tie in snacks, tie in food, make a dinner and board game night, right? Something else we've done a movie in a thematic board game where we watch Alien vs. Predator and then played a whole bunch of Star Realms. Like, that's so fun, that's so cool, right? So find a way to make it more than just the board game, right? Make it a night, make an experience, tie in other things, make it thematic. People will enjoy that, and people will remember that, and they'll say, man, when can we do another one of those game nights? Because it was so much fun. So there's some tips for you. Maybe you found them helpful. Maybe they sound kind of redundant and basic, but make some friends. Be a kind host, and play the games people want to play. Turn it into something more than just board games. And that's just a tip for you. So good luck. Hope you make some more board game friends this year in 2023 and do a whole bunch of gaming. See you later.